Hello, everyone. Hey, I did it right this time. Spirit of 420 here because everything I do is so damn 420. Introducing a new bowl tonight, one that had been packed away and put away because my shit sister gave it to me, but the bowl is still nice. So we can ignore the fact that it came from, not such a good person. This is Puffy Cloud, named after one of my favorite bands, Ween. So they did a song, Float Away on a Puffy Cloud. Nice to see everybody. Nice to be here again. Things keep moving on, and how do you say, I keep trying to live each and every day just a little bit better than the next, and that isn't always easy when you have life just throwing you those curveballs, right? Excuse me for the slurping, but damn, that coffee is good. So just touch on a few things. How to say, I know things are going to continually get better, and I know that life will go on. But I'm curious. I don't know that it's ever gonna feel real. I was talking to my mom about that, and it's so surreal that it has this air of this isn't really happening. When of course I understand and have full understanding that it is, right? Everybody who knew my son and everybody who knows my boys says the same thing about all of them. Funny enough, that their laugh is infectious and their attitudes are almost addictive. And I love that. I love hearing that about them. But all I can say is that when you have this kind of a loss, and I know I've probably used this term overly as of late because I don't know a better term to describe it, but it's bittersweet. Hearing about how great your son was after he's gone is beautiful and sweet and painful and sucks. So I thought I would start tonight's show, even though it is a flick dick investigation. I thought I would start tonight's show with a few excerpts from the book that I love so much, the Change Your Life quote book, right? So I thought tonight would be appropriate to do Believe in Miracles, which is the third section in the book, right? And I'll just read off a couple here. This is Willa, Willa, Cather, I'm guessing. I guess she wanted to interrupt with a. So where there is great love, there are miracles. And I chose miracles for a reason, because I even said it to my mom, and I was saying it to the young lady who tried to save my son, who is now literally a part of this family. And y'all may think some people may think, oh, that's not going to last. Trust me. The more she comes around, which is, more than just once a week, but every time she comes around, she feels closer. We feel closer to Sky because she is like his soul sister. And earlier tonight, it was funny because, people, this is part of the miracle, folks. Some people choose to ignore signs and some people choose to see them. That is the simple ins and outs of it, right? But if you do choose to see them, then they're abundant. The signs, the little check marks, if you will, saying, hey, you're on your right path, you're getting it. One of them, for instance, was tonight, a young lady came over, and eventually I may say her name, but I don't want to say her name without her permission. But anyway, she came over tonight. To give you an idea how close she is, she's actually getting one of the little mini urns with some of Sky's ashes. So that's how important it is to her. That's how important the family is to her and how important she is to the family. But I thought tonight, she never got to meet Sky in the living, if you will, right? And every time she gets a chance, she really wants to get to know him more and more. So I thought it would be nice tonight, and because I salvaged footage. I say salvage because I got it. My son was not a technological person, but he did love his dash cam, and he had one that recorded out as well as in the cab, which is really cool because I have all this footage of him, not a ton, but I have all this footage of him, all the way back to, and it didn't record all the time. It's funny because his electronics just always kind of glitched out on him. But I have footage all the way back to June 1st, which was just 3 days before his 22nd birthday. I didn't show all of it to her. I just showed her a few. I showed her, what was it? There's one where him and one of my other sons are, excuse me, at McDonald's getting an order, and they're just cutting up, having a good time. And then I showed her another one where they took their newest roommate, yet another son of mine, if you will, took him on his first hiking trip after moving here from Florida just, I think it was August 31st. So just 23 days. Just 23 days before his death. And I showed her these recordings, and it was funny. I could just see it. I could see her kind of dealing with, her dealing with feelings of not shock, but kind of like, if you will. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, it's just weird. It's really weird. And I was like, why is that? Because she says, it feels like I'm watching, me in essence. He's so much like me. Right. And what's funny is right before we went upstairs right before we came up to the office to look at the videos, she said something about being off tomorrow. I was like, so are you off every Friday? She's like, yeah. I was like, so what's your schedule? And she works 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and just obtained that schedule, which is the same schedule, identical schedule that Sky just obtained from his new job, working Monday through Thursday, off 3 days a week, work 4 days a week. And he loved it. And it's just, there's so many other coincidences. She was sitting there watching the tape. She's like, oh my God, the way he talks to his friends, the way he cuts up, the things he says, his mannerisms, all of it. It's in, I said it the moment I met her, and the more I know her, the more it becomes abundantly clear, but she is like a soul sister, right? I even said to her today, in my humble opinion, I believe that we do this more than once. And it's my belief that her and Sky in other lives are probably different types of relationships. Here, they just met for that moment on the street, right? Because their souls were supposed to meet. She was supposed to be part of this family, just without Sky present. But the reality is, in another life, maybe they were lovers, maybe they were child and parent, maybe they were siblings, but I believe that they were definitely something. And I think they've been lingering around each other, for eons, finding each other in each life, because it's uncanny. And you can't, that shit's not, it's not coincidence, folks. It's not coincidence that someone who's just like my son is the one to try to save his life and is now part of his family. That didn't just happen by mistake. If you want to believe that it did and that all these coincidences happen in life, again, that's your choice. You can choose to see it or you can choose to ignore it. But the signs are there, and shit is real. There is a reason for all of it. When something horrible happens, you have to take a back step and go, okay, this is horrible, but I'm still alive. Therefore, that right there makes me stronger. The fact that I lived through this, and I know that sucks. Some people are like, that's a really shitty way to look at your son's death. No, what doesn't kill you in this world makes you stronger. And if it does kill you, well, then you don't have to fucking worry about it anymore. Like Sky, the one thing I can say is we're all here. He is now done with it. Whatever he is doing, it's not here, and he's not suffering. That is abundantly clear. And trust me, I can say all these things till I'm blue in the face, and I will. It doesn't make it any harder. When I think about the reality of it, my stomach drops almost every single day right now. When I say my stomach drops, I can't, like, I even remember the first time that they said it, like, when the guy said, is your son so-and-so? I was like, my almost dropped to my knees. It's like it just takes everything out of me when it hits me again. And that moment is still extremely fresh, to the point where when I think about it, I mean, it just happened to me here, standing here the other day when I was telling you, but it just happened to me just a few moments ago when I think about that moment, right? This is Lotl, Lotl. I was going to name it Limitless, but that's just too hard to say every time for a bold. So, Lotl. Lord of the Limited. Lord of the Limitless. Limited. There you go. Way to fuck that one up, Spirit. So, back to the book before we get to the investigation. I think I have at least one or two more in me. That's what she said. By the way, I would like to take a moment. So this shirt that I have on, let's see if you can see it. Here we go. So, the asshole who cares. And this is where, excuse me, sorry. This is where, this was the last job this guy had. And it's called Assholes Garage, and they literally, this is their slogan, the assholes, or the asshole that cares, this asshole cares, excuse me. But that's their whole thing. They're the assholes that care. So, Bernard Berenson, 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 yep. Bernard Berenson, miracles happen to those who believe in them. Well, I believe, and this is all, I'm already seeing it. I know a lot of people are like, well, the guy must be delusional if he thinks that losing his son is somehow a miracle. Losing my son was not the miracle, right? The miracle is what's happening due to my son's death. Okay, folks? God gave you a gift of 86,400 seconds today. Have you used one to say thank you? I mean, I just did, but I'll do it again. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you to everybody that helps me. By the way, that's William Arthur Ward. Let's see. Oh, I just saw the name here. So this is Alfred Lord Tennyson. I'm sure a lot of y'all know who that is. "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all." Boy, isn't that one true? I've thought about that many times, and what I mean by that is, yes, my son is no longer here. I don't get to have a lot of the experiences that I would have had, but I am extremely grateful and thankful for the time that I did have my son and get to call him my son and raise him. So yeah, I'm definitely down with that. Appreciation is like an insurance policy. It has to be renewed every now and then. That's a good one. Oh, okay. So I was in the B section, but what I didn't really, these were be grateful. Those work though. But let's go back to another one, to another miracle. Oh, we're here. This one's good. Oral Roberts. That's kind of funny. Expect a miracle. I like that. I like that. I'll do two more. This is Frederick Faust, Faust. "There is a giant asleep within every man. When that giant awakes, miracles happen." Boy, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Last one, of course. What a way to pick the last one that I'm going to read tonight anyway. Albert Einstein. So Albert Einstein said, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle." I think Albert E. said it all right there. And with that, all I can tell you, folks, is welcome to the beginning of my miracle, of my family's miracle. Skylar's friends and families miracle. Yeah, miracles, we'll make it plural. So funny enough, as you know, tonight is Afflicted. And I went to go see Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. Tell you what, it's really making me cough tonight. I don't know what's going on. Maybe time to cut back on the cigarettes. So let me just start off by saying, before I even get into it, first of all, it was a good movie. I'll give you my full rating here in a minute. Secondly, it was uncanny how many things had parallels. And what I mean by that is, even when I went to go see Black Adam, which was just not good to me, I remember sitting there going, wow, I needed to see, even though it was a shitty movie and I didn't think it was that great, everything we do has a reason. And there were many lines and many issues and things that the characters were going through that had direct parallel to my life and what was going on at the time, which I thought was, it just continues to show me that there are no coincidences, you know. And I know some people are like, it's just the movie. Yeah, everything is just everything, right? It's just a bike ride. It's just a mountain out there. It's all just that. If you choose to see the miracles, and this is one of the things that I say, we take the world so for granted that we no longer see the miracles that happen all the time. The miracles of life itself, right? That is a fucking miracle. You know, not to sound rude, but, you know, inject a microorganism that you can't even see with the human eye into another body, and it creates a life that turns into what stands before you now. come on, man. We have gotten so used to what we do in the life that we lead that we don't even take the time, as they say, to smell the roses and see these incredible miracles for the miracles that they are. Every time somebody has a baby, it's another miracle. You can either choose to see that, right? I'm going to be on this one. I'm definitely going to agree with Albert. I am purely the latter. Everything I see is just constant miracles, constant, all the time. It was a miracle. It is miraculous by definition that the person who found him did that. Little tiny miracles happen when you go and see films if you're open to it. One of the biggest miracles that I had, and I know I'm still talking about Flick Dick. I know kind of went back. It happens. But back in 2016, my wife got hit. Just days after that, we were watching Alive. Now, for those of you who don't know the movie, it's simply put it, and I may have already talked about this, but it's the movie of the Chile rugby team that crashed and ended up having to eat the dead in order to survive. The beginning of the movie, the first fucking scene with John Malkovich, he's literally talking about the fact that there's God that you know every day when you're living life. And as he says it, then there's the God that he met up on the mountain for those 2.5 months that they survived some horrendous fucking shit, right? So it literally sets the precedence for the film that it is going to be one of spirituality, and it surely is. And as we were having a conversation, they were literally mocking what we're saying on the TV or on the television in this case, but it was a movie. That's not just a coincidence. I know everybody can. There's a lot of psychological people who are like, well, you are hearing it, so psychologically you were spouting out what you're hearing. Fuck that. This continues to happen, and my life exponentially gets better. And when I went to go see Black Panther, I got a huge amount of parallels. There were so many parallels. I mean, it's obvious right off the bat, right? But I'll give you the biggest one, like the one that really hit home. And I'm not taking away, I don't think I'm going to really give a spoiler, but possible spoiler alert. Okay. But I got to talk about this. We all know that the Black Panther is going to die. That's part of the fucking trailer. So if you don't know that, well, then don't go see the movie. Okay. But Chadwick Boseman died. So they did the only thing that you can really do in this type of situation because they decided not to try to crow it out. And they simply killed off the character, right? And you get the feeling from the trailer that it's going to be somebody else in their lineage of some kind to take over. But the real parallel is the fact that the main character in this new one is his sister. Technically, his sister and his mother are really the two main characters. And it's really funny because the sister is like my son's twin brother. And this is the parallel. She is angry, right? She's extremely angry. And she even says at one point, she's like, if I think about my brother too long, then I just want to burn it all down, right? Kind of made me reminiscent a little bit of Game of Thrones in the sense of where Daenerys goes, or whatever her name was. I'm probably saying it wrong. It's been so long since I've watched Scott. But the point is, the mother then says, you are seeing it wrong. He is not gone. He's all around us now. He's more here than ever, just not in physical form, right? And the daughter's fighting that because she's consumed by anger and fear, right? Because one of the things that happens when somebody dies in your life is that it throws your mortality in your face. And if it doesn't, well, then you're probably a heartless SOB. But for everybody I know, it throws their mortality front and center, right? Like, hey, you're not going to be around forever either. And I know this may sound funny because I've been talking about it a lot lately. But until Skylar died, there was still this part of me that was like the 20-year-old me. Like, somehow I'm going to find a way to break the fucking rules and live forever, right? And what's really funny is, do I really want to live forever, or is that just this need and want for life, right? And I'll finish. I'm going to finish this thought up and then give you the full investigation of Black Panther. But the parallel was so huge. And I don't want to go any further because then it would be spoiler. But I don't think I'm really taking away anything for anybody that hasn't seen the movie, because quite frankly, it's kind of an obvious. And what I mean by that is dealing with death. You usually have somebody that's very dealing with it, angry and fear. And that was the whole point, is that the fear comes because your mortality is thrown into your face. So then you start to fear your own death all of a sudden, right? Which is just, not to sound rude to anybody, but it's ludicrous, because we're all going to die. So sitting around fearing it or worried about it or any of that shit, that's just wasting the time that you do have, right? And I'll tell you this, that was one thing that Boseman didn't do. It was one thing that my son didn't do. And God bless Boseman, but I mean, he had twice the life that my son had. But it's what you do with your time here, and he touched a lot of people, just like Boseman, just like the character, funny enough, and to come back full circle, the Black Panther character had touched a lot of lives, right? So it was a huge loss. And I'll say you this, from the beginning of the film, from the moment that the film actually started, like right off the bat, it was extremely tasteful. It paid tribute to Chadwick, which I was very much impressed with. And personally, let me say this, I thought the story was well written. It threw some curveballs. In fact, I want to go back and read some of the comics, because I don't know if some of the stuff seems like it was literally made up just for what has happened, right? But I thought that when you're talking about entertaining people who know the main character in real life died, you have a uphill battle, right? I mean, you have a real challenge, because people have to enjoy that movie even though they know this guy has died, right? Crow, and when I, earlier when I alluded to it, Crow, the first one they did well because he died and had pretty much filmed all of it, is the fact that they did all these sequels at all without Brandon Lee, right? Now, the difference is they tried to, in those sequels, they, tried to recreate the Crow. And I thought what they did with Black Panther, it was actually comparable, in my opinion, to like Maverick. I don't know if y'all remember my investigation of Top Gun, but to me, Top Gun, Maverick, the new Top Gun, the story that was written was pretty much the only story that you could write and it actually do well, right? And my humble opinion, Black Panther, they nailed it. I thought that, looking back at it, there was times where a lot of pressure was clearly put on this young woman, and I can't think of her name right now. I'll put it in the description. Oh, what is her name? It really doesn't matter. But the main star, the one that plays the Black Panther's sister, there was a huge amount of pressure on her. And obviously it was nice to have someone like Angela Bassett, who was, pretty, what do you want to call it? Not just awarded, but highly respected, right? And not just a veteran, but a legend, right? She's become a legend of the screen, and she's still acting. So it does take a lot of the pressure off that you have someone like that sharing the screen. But with the exception of a couple times where I wouldn't say that she was bad, she just wasn't as good as she could be. There was other times when she was better than I thought she could be. So it balanced itself out. Her performance, all in all, was very good. There were some other performances that I thought were really good. I love the introduction of the new characters that were in this. Here's a funny little tidbit. There's a cameo in here that I did not expect, and I'll tell you it is because it's not that big of a deal. You'll wait to see it. It's not like some spoiler, but Elaine shows up from Seinfeld. Elaine. I thought that was a cute little cameo that totally like, funny enough, for like the first 15 seconds that the character was talking, because I can sit here and watch Seinfeld over and over. I love that show. It's like my background music, right? Well, she was sitting there talking to the character, but the last Seinfeld came out in 98. So we're talking about 25 years ago. That's a fucking, dude, we're talking about a quarter century, right? I did not fucking recognize Elaine. And although she's not ugly, let me just say, she's not aged as well as some could have. But then again, I have kudos because I didn't see what appeared to be any kind of work done lately. But then again, I could be wrong. Maybe she's getting all kinds of work just to look as shitty as she does. I'm not saying she looks horrible, but maybe it was the character. Maybe that's what, that was the way she was supposed to look, but I wasn't that impressed. And there was a time when Julia Louis-Dreyfus was on my hot fuck it list. You know what I mean? That's a bucket fuck you list. It's a bucket list of who I want to fuck you. The first entry on my bucket list is just Earth. So, anywho, so Wakanda Forever. 83. I'll give it an 83. It was strong, just like anything. It had room for improvement, but they are clearly, it was not as good as its predecessor. Okay, Black Panther was the original Black Panther, the first one, the standalone. That is, I would say all day is a solid 90. A fantastic film. But this one did, considering what all it had to live up to, considering the amount of pressure on the entire team, but it really ends up falling a lot on the shoulders of the young lady who's starring in it, right? The new Panther. But it was good, and just like any good Marvel, they had some good cut scenes at the end that come in the credits with some surprises, for the future and shit. I won't give those away. You got to sit through the credits like I did. My wife was there with me. I will say this: the parallels were so fucking strong that most people probably won't cry at some of the scenes in this, but it had me bawling a couple times because they were death scenes. What are you gonna do? Not to sound rude, but I mean those are going to touch home right now. It hasn't even been 30 days. Which, no offense, it hasn't even been 30 days. But if y'all have ever been in this situation, it feels like a lifetime ago that I lost him. Like a fucking lifetime ago. I would give anything to hold him again. So, anywho, on that note, I'll take another hit off this bong here. And why not read but one more beautiful positive message before we end the day. By the way, this is the Q, babe. So if you want to get that BLT going, that would be fantastic. So, I might do two because this one I saw, and there was another one that I saw. So this is Pablo Picasso. Excuse me, Pablo Picasso. Everything is a miracle, is miraculous. It is miraculous that one does not melt in one's bath. The first part of it, though, I love. Everything is miraculous. That is perfect. All right, and then I'll just go Well, you know what? I'll read two more because it only takes a second. So this next one is Arthur Rubinstein, not sure which way. To be alive, to be able to see, to walk, it's all a miracle. I have adapted the technique of living life from miracle to miracle. Yeah, that says it all. But I will end this. So this is Walt Whitman. I know y'all know who that is. All the things of the universe are perfect miracles, each as profound as any. Tell you what, really speaks volumes for me and where I am, because I would love to see people today. I know I'm trying to do it, but take it for less granted. Am I saying that? Is that Englishly? Is that grammatically correct? We shouldn't take the world for granted the way that we do. It's such an extreme that we don't see the beauty and the miraculousness of this world. And if you take the time to just sit back, fuck it. If you like marijuana, smoke some marijuana, take some kratom, have a drink, do nothing. Just go sit somewhere and stare off and just look at what all's happened. And it'll start to dawn on you how miraculous all of it is. You're just like, fuck, dude, it's insane. That's fucking crazy. It's all miraculous. To blaze or not to blaze, there is no question. There is only to get high, to get by, to be with the sky. So I love each and every one of you. Today is Thursday, right? Yep. So I'll be back on Saturday. And between now and then, all I can say is remember a few things. Remember this: you are a miracle. You are unique. You are special. You are absolutely part of the plan. Each individual person is as much part of the plan as the most famous person or the richest person or any of that shit, because riches and fame is not actually having a rich life. Wealth, let me put it to you like that. Wealth and fame is not living a rich life. That can be part of it. And the other point is, come back to the fact that if you understand that you are important and you're a miracle and you have just as much to contribute and are just as much a part, you're not a cog, you're a piece of the machine, just like all of us. Some may speak a little louder, some may walk a little taller. They're no more important, nor are you any less important. Because if you take one piece away, then none of it works the same. It's just the way it is. So if you need to look at it in any one way, there's 1,000 pieces to any 1,000 piece puzzle, right? But if you take one away, the puzzle is incomplete and it's just not right. You are no different than any other puzzle piece. You have just as much value, even as a corner or an edge, right? Or maybe one that's just the eyeball or whatever. You have the same importance. You have the same equality. All those pieces look the same until you put them all together, right? Anywho, I love all of you. I really do. I truly do. There's a few that I reach out to more, but I have love for each and every one of you. Even the ones that say you hate me, and even the ones that I say I don't like, I still love you, because you're just as important and just as much a part of this as anybody, anything else, period. So have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed evening. Have a blessed Friday. Thank God it is Friday. Have an incredible weekend, and I'll see you on Saturday night, and we'll talk about something else Saturday night. What that'll be, who the hell knows? But it'll be fun, and we'll see what happens together. I'm sure I'll end up posting about it just before I go on. Talk to you later. Peace.
You can't have my phone number unless we running up the digits. Let me meditate, I just need a couple minutes. Tryna low bomb me, my cojones to the big ass. Bitch, I get high. I ain't looking at the clock still.